Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
B20. Working security in Venezuela. I am an interpreter, so I go basically everywhere. Also, I am the only white guy for miles in any direction. Multiple times I've had rebels or cartels try and capture me for ransom. I am a 4chan user that had no friends, so I moved to a foreign country that will net a lot of money. Anyways, I sleep really poorly. Wake up every hour and a half or so. We are not in our actual barracks that night. We are going to meet up with another group for negotiations the next day. Set up camp for the night, so I just sleep in the back of one of the trucks. Wake up around 2 a.m. Notice that fire watch is kind of slacking. Who am I to judge? Hear breathing nearby. Something is amiss. I quietly grab my pistol. No safety to click off because fuck yeah, sick sig. Still laying in the back of the truck. Breathing gets closer. Very heavy. Nope. Footsteps approaching the truck. Fuck this. I'm a terp, not an operator. Someone opens up the driver's side door. Here rummaging, glove box opens up. Dude is leaned over the middle part of the seats. I tactically nope out of my spot behind the seats. Tactically bump into the guy. Tactically fall out of the truck on top of him. Shove the pistol into his face and start shouting. Firewatch moves handheld spotlights onto us. It was one of the business dudes. He was having an asthma attack. He left his inhaler in the truck. Most intense combat I have ever seen. Was really horrifying because I thought I was gonna get dead or hung upside down in a cabin for weeks until they realized there was no profit to be made on my ransom.
The Owhuama is a cryptid reported from the Venezuelan Amazon, considered to be the Yanomami people's version of the Mapinguari, which has itself been reported from the Venezuelan-Brazilian border region. Identified with an image of a ground sloth covertly produced by Gustavo Sanchez Romero, the Owhuama was described to him as a sturdily built, hairy animal with strong claws and arms powerful enough to tear down trees and toss jaguars into the air. A ground-dwelling herbivore, it walks both quadrupedally and bipedally and generally leaves backwards-facing tracks. Though rare, it can be dangerous, attacking only in self-defense, so the Yanomami have a great respect for it. It lives in deep, cool caves and communicates by howling. While the Yanomami who gave the description lived in southern Venezuela, they indicated that the Owhuama usually lived further south, near or in northern Brazil. Czech cryptozoologist Arnošt Vašíček also collected Mapinguari descriptions from this region. The animal was described to him as a large bipedal browser with powerful claws, which carries its young on its back. In the 1980s, a huaquero claimed to have seen a ground sloth-like animal in the subtropical cloud forests of the Ecuadorian Andes. He described it as a large and unfamiliar quadruped, about 10 feet long, covered in shaggy hair, and sporting a large horse's snout. It emerged from a cave, reared up onto its hind legs, and began to browse on the surrounding vegetation. The Ujea is a cryptid reported from Ecuador, described as a bear-like animal. A Shuar source describes it as a bear-man hybrid with an odor strong enough to knock a grown man unconscious, which feeds on flower nectar and is not dangerous to man, leading to it formerly being hunted by the Shuar. A picture drawn by the Shuar who gave this description depicts the Ujea as a man-like being with shaggy red hair on its head and back, a long tongue, and strongly hooked claws.
Mysterious call at 5 a.m. on Friday night watching Drive with some friends. After finishing, we go to our respective homes. Just as I arrived, a storm suddenly hits the neighborhood. I live in an apartment with my dad, play games and shit while enjoying the hardcore rain with some vidya. Got tired and went to sleep around 1 a.m. or something. Sleeping at around 5 a.m., still dark in here, and kind of dangerous because Venezuela. Suddenly my phone ringing wakes me up. What the heck? .jpg. The number has no name in the first place. Answer all sleepy and hear a in some way familiar voice, but cannot tell exactly who. The sound is kind of trashy, with a lot of interference like having the mouth stick to the phone while talking. Come on, man. Open the door down here. Do not let us die. Come on, says the voice all desperate. Wait, who is it? I say, but the call dies. I am too skeptical at the moment, so send a message in case it is really urgent. I got friends that hang out really late at night and even more on weekends, so who knows. My phone has an issue that after turning on, it will not display the contact name unless I open the contact list in the first place, so anyone calling will not know until I do that. So the next morning I checked the contacts list to see if I had the number saved. It turned out to be one of the friends I was with earlier that night. That happened on the night from Friday to Saturday. Now on Sunday I am with them talking, and asked my friend what the heck was that call at 5 a.m. He then tells me this. Well, I arrived that night. I had a blackout all night and my phone battery died out as soon as I arrived. I actually had a bad feeling about that night. In fact, my little brother, they share a bedroom, went to sleep with my mom because he had that feeling too. I couldn't sleep at all until like 1 a.m. because of that feeling. In retrospect, the voice, even though familiar, wasn't that similar to that of my friend, so it's really weird.
B11. Summertime. Out to camp with dad and best friend. End of the summer, so no other people at the campsite. Friend and I go to bed after a long day of hiking and fishing. We stay in bunk beds at the back of the cabin, in a room with a window facing a big open field surrounded by a wooded area. I wake up early and the sun is just beginning to rise. No reason, just woke up. Feel compelled to look out the window. See a long, gangly, upright, standing 7-foot figure, at least covered in hair, out in the field about 20 yards away. It is leaping about, looks to be playing almost. Watch for a few seconds, notice it stop leaping and look right in my direction. Ask friend if he is awake. He has been the whole time. Tall figure turns to face our cabin and begins lumbering towards it. Lumbering gradually turns into exaggerated running. Both look away from the window out of fear. Feel the cabin shake as whatever it was collides with the side. Father awakens and storms into the bedroom to tell us to shut up. Freaking out, we both try and explain what happened. Dad laughs at us, tells us we are dreaming, and goes outside to prove us wrong. Nothing. Blames us both and goes back to bed. Thankfully, we left that afternoon, but my friend remembers this as well as I do, and to this day I still get chills recalling this story.
Okay, here's some true OC. Be in Trinidad, hanging out with 3 bros early spring several years back. One is a native of Trinidad, offered us a place to stay. Partying pretty hard, but the island dies down pretty quick. Friend asks if we want to catch a boat to the mainland. Says he used to do it all the time as a kid. Fuck it. .jpg. We all caught a ride with some dudes heading into Venezuela. The beach is wild. The night is back on. Don't remember too much because I black out pretty quick. Wake up in a dark room. My head is spinning. I don't know where I am. Stone floor and walls. Think I am in a cellar, but I can see light through the hatched roof. Smell hay and mud. Figure it is some old barn or abandoned building. Realize I am handcuffed to a pipe. I start to freak out, but then I hear some voices. I can't see in the dark, and my Spanish sucks, but make out the words camera, and we will come back in an hour. They leave. Start freaking out again, trying to get out of the cuffs. I used to be really big into breaking and entering when I was younger. Had a pair of lockpicks I made from bobby pins in my wallet. Surprisingly, still had my wallet. Shimmy it out and pick the cuffs in seconds. Find my buddy from Trinidad handcuffed to another pipe. Get him out. We start scouring the barn, find a third buddy in a different room, and passed out on the floor. He is beat up pretty badly and has a lock on his ankle. Apparently, he was still conscious when this went down and put up a fight. Try waking him up, but nothing. Start working on his lock. The fucking tumblers are all gooped up and keep sticking. Buddy wakes up and starts flipping his shit, screaming and kicking the pipe. I start just raking the shit out of the pins. The thing pops open. Holy shit, rar. We take off out of the barn and just start running. No idea where the hell we are. One of my buddies used to be a Boy Scout and could read constellations and shit. We figured the beach had to be to the north, so we just started running for hours. Wake up in the woods next to a creek. Why the hell did we stop? What the fuck? Wake other bros up, try to devise a plan. We continue running north. Feels like a couple hours pass. Come up to this dirt road. Begin arguing on whether to take the road or not. It would be the fastest way to move and find help, but that is also where they get recaptured in every horror movie. Decide to skirt the road in the woods, keeping it in sight. Come up to this small town, only like 10 houses. Sprint from the woods and start pounding on doors. Realize that was a stupid thing to do. Finally, some old lady answers the door. Try to Spanish her the best I can to let us use her phone. Get a hold of the operator and eventually get routed to someone speaking English. Tell some dude at the embassy the whole story. Have the old lady explain to them where we are. Guy says just to sit tight. About 3 hours later, some beat-up white Land Cruiser rolls up. The driver is speaking English. Fuck it. Let us get out of here. Still have no clue where the fourth guy in our group is. Was not at the barn. Make it to the embassy. Get debriefed on the whole incident. Get cleaned up. Dude at the embassy says this shit is not uncommon and that human trafficking is a problem in these parts. Says that it is usually chicks sold for sex, but every once in a while they will grab anyone for ransom or organs. A few hours later, meet up with the fourth guy that was missing. We ask what the hell happened to him. He says he hooked up with some chick at the beach and stayed at her place. You fucking what? So, Venezuela isn't too friendly with America, apparently.
All right. I lived most of my life in Venezuela, so I mostly know stories about that country. A few from Chile and others from Colombia. Anyway, Venezuelan Legends. My favorite from all Venezuelan legends would be El Silbón, the Whistling Man. According to the legend, the man was raised as a very spoiled boy by his parents, rich landowners of the Venezuelan Llanos. One day, The boy asked his father to hunt deer for them to eat, as the deer was his favorite. The father decided to please his son and hunt a deer for him to eat. Sadly, after hours of searching, he failed to return with anything. Enraged by this, the boy took his father's hunting knife and stabbed him with it, then gutted him and ate his innards. Warned by the screams of her husband, his mother and grandfather walked in on him, covered in his father's blood and still eating the father's innards. For this, he was punished. In some accounts by his grandfather, in others by a witchman, and on others by his own mother, and cursed that he may never be able to rest, and that in punishment he was forced to carry his father's bones on his back, forever walking without being able to stop. And because of that, he still roams the plains of El Llano. His favorite victims are the drunkards. However, he isn't considered a minor spirit or a trickster. He kills anyone that crosses his path. He is regarded as an omen of death for anyone who wanders the plains at night. He would follow his victims, first from afar, until gradually catching up to them, whistling a song that follows the traditional musical scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Another legend states that he stops by houses at midnight and starts counting his bones. If no one dares to help him count, everyone in that house will die the following night, in revenge. Something else I can remember is the Huay Chivo. Its sounds are less like Wai Chi as in chimpanzee and Vo as in veracity. It's basically a witch that practices some very dark magic and has the power to transform into animals, usually goats. They shapeshift at night and go to prey on people, but they come back at dawn to become humans again. A disturbing part of it is that apparently when they transform, they leave their human skin behind like a used coat, and I was told that is the key to killing them. To get rid of a Huay Chivo, I was told that you have to wait until he shapeshifts and leaves his home, and when you are certain he is gone, then you have to put salt on his human skin. Finally, when he comes back at dawn, he won't be able to get into his human skin again and will permanently become a normal goat that then you have to hurry up and kill. Another story that I was told by my Grandpa Chito was a story about Dia de Muertos. First of all, you should know that dogs can see dead people, and during Dia de Muertos, they can see the droves of people that come back to this world for the day. There was once a man that was very interested in seeing the dead people that came back that day. He knew that dogs could see them, and so he made a plan to be able to do the same. The night before Dia de Muertos, he decided to take the lagañas. Sorry, couldn't find a translation. But basically, it's that dried-up secretion that comes from your eyes while you sleep, from the eyes of his dogs, and put them on his own. He then waited, and waited till morning. When the day came, he saw all the dead people walking by and looking for the houses of their living relatives. At first, he was amazed, but then he noticed that the dead were aware of him looking at them. He became terrified and died of pure fright. His body was later found by his neighbors. My grandfather told me that the moral of the story was that you shouldn't mess with those things people weren't meant to see. I was young, so it really got me.
Hi X, I am a casual lurker. I am Venezuelan. Yes, socialism is the devil, but please no politics. I don't care if you disagree. And I come to share and ask about experiences with trickster beings and shapeshifters and spirits who can disguise themselves. I know Japanese culture is full of these and plenty of animal spirits can transform with ease. But I really wonder how much can entities mimic us, and what categories of beings can and can't do so. Have you had similar experiences with things pretending to be you or your family? My story below. Up here, my story is this one. Be me 12 years old at the time, my brother was 15. Family owned a big but run-down colonial-style house in a town in the province. Probably belonged to a low-tier landowner of the latifundio era. Grandpa wanted to have it become an inn, but the area never got developed and we simply used it to vacation ourselves. Me and Bro were always so freaked out at night that we started sleeping in the same room. You had to walk across a scary-as-hell colonial hallway and across the patio to get to the bathroom of this house. Bro and I hated to go to the bathroom alone at night. I always annoyed the crap out of him, so he would come with me and he was cool about it. One night, my brother was woken up by me shaking him and pulling out his blanket. He squints and sees me hanging by the open door waiting for him. He is sleepy and is so used to this happening that he just plays along, gets up and follows me. He never really stared too closely at what he thought was me. He saw my figure getting kind of lost in the shadows of the hallway. He heard my exact voice telling him to come. And when I vanished, he simply thought I went ahead and had a bad rush to pee or something. When he got to the middle of the patio, he realized there was no one in the bathroom to the other side. Door was open, lights out. The other rooms were closed. He kind of looked around for me and thought I was pulling a prank trying to scare him. What the fuck, Anon? Where did you go? He then heard me whisper loudly, "Come, Anon's brother. Come, let us enter the garden." He saw me heavily shaded but still perfectly silhouetted, making hand gestures for him to enter the garden area with him. This was a separate area leaving the house. Not actually a garden, but some backwoods of the property outside of the house and joined with the hill. My grandpa planted some mango trees and shit. There was nothing there other than that. My brother was having none of this. "You are crazy or what, Anon? Get the fuck here, or I will wake up our parents so they kick your ass. You are going to fall into that stupid pit or get bitten by a snake, asshole. You will get us both into serious shit." The figure that looked like me kept calling him and making gestures, so he got pretty pissed. Turned back the way to our room and figured I would get scared of being left alone in the patio, so I would rush back behind him. He did not hear me following, though. Imagine the face on my brother when he saw me dead asleep in our room when he returned. It was not me the whole time. He screamed, woke everyone up, and was close to tears. My father and grandpa went into the backwoods with lanterns. They found no one. You can't even access the property from there. You'd have to jump from a helicopter or something to enter the house from the back. It was not the only time me and other family members heard and saw each other calling us. We always had this shit happen every time we vacationed there. We found out the next owner off himself after the government expropriated all his investments. There is nothing there now but squatters, and the town is run by a criminal gang in Santeros. What the hell was that?
Nice story. It sounds like a typical trickster phenomena. I wouldn't think of a shadow person simply because they usually aren't talkative at all. Another thing it could be, and it's really out of left field for some. Is it maybe something associated with ley lines? Do you know anything about the history of the building? You said this wasn't the only instance of shit like that. Well, apparently if you occupy the same space as a ley line or some entity's territory, they can get pretty defensive about it. I'm talking about fae folk type stuff. I know in South America they do have reports of similar things, just as the Japanese fox spirits and the Icelandic elves. Maybe look into that, try to find out more about the land nearby.
And as far as my brother tells me, this thing looked enough like at quick glance to not make him think about it very much. He didn't go around the room. He could have easily seen me sleeping, or lingered before just heading out of the room like he would do normally. It is interesting to me that he wasn't mesmerized or anything, just tricked, like he didn't feel dizzy or hypnotized like I have read in some fairy stories where the victim is attracted magically to a place. He also didn't sense any demonic aura or anything. It was not like a siren calling him. He was well in his senses, just mighty pissed when this thing was calling him to go over the backwoods and thinking about the stupid stunt his little brother pulled him out of bed to do. He didn't even consider for a second to actually follow him, and God knows what would have happened to him if he did. He only needed some common sense not to get taken. He was very shaken up about it anyways and still is scared like hell of anything related to the paranormal. Not much. The house was obviously old, and this country had a fair share of historic problems with colonization, slavery, civil war, for example. We don't really know the history of the people who lived there, though, and the town is nothing remarkable, but cerros around it feel very thick in atmosphere, and people around were very superstitious and almost all believed wholeheartedly in spirits. A Catholic priest did bless the house after my brother had his ordeal. It probably did help, because this story was the most in-your-face encounter any of us had. But we did see a lot shadows crossing about the hallways, and heard one of the other calling our name only to realize they didn't during the years there. A few times I thought I saw my brother or other sibling enter the room or felt him behind me, to then turn around and see nothing. My grandparents approached to fairies, and ghost was the same as with pests or some random animal entering your home. Normal nature shit, don't cross its path, don't bother them, don't lose sleep over it. No big deal, no need to be a paranoid. Christ has us covered anyways. I think they acknowledge mice more than hauntings, lol. I didn't know about ley lines, but a neighbor did recommend to always have some small window or crack open in the front and in the back so that traveling spirits can cross. I never pay much mind to that.
Most Central American countries have had a security problem for decades. I am Spaniard. Almost 40 years ago, one of my teachers was hired to give a class in Venezuela for 3 months. He told us how he was given a gun and told not to stop at traffic lights for fear of being assaulted. That in Spain, where it is hard to carry a gun with you, with 300 or less violent deaths a year, 47 million people here, sounded scary to us. I was told stories by workers hired to do skilled labor in Venezuela, well before Chavez got to power, going to work in armored vans with armed escort. Not so hard, but stories from people who migrated to Spain from Brazil and Mexico, how you must hide any sign of money, even an average new car by European standards, so you aren't assaulted in your house, how you can't walk by at night. They were honestly surprised that you could do it in Spain. A friend of mine worked in Peru 15 years ago. He couldn't go walking from one pub to the other for fear of being assaulted and killed. Be careful of not to take a fake taxi and being assaulted. Although Peru wasn't so violent, and he was surprised at how safe Colombia was, and especially Chile. As he said, you could see Pinochet's legacy. And a friend of mine called his aunt during the first coup against Chavez to check if she was all right. She didn't realize there was a coup, and when asked if she didn't hear gunshots, she told him that she heard the usual shots at night, as every night. I have been told by a Venezuelan guy that both Chavez and Maduro thought that it was a good idea to form popular militias, and part of the weapons flooded to criminal gangs, and have formed ties with criminal elements under the flag of his political movement, because Chavez didn't trust the whole army at first. Most Central and South American countries are failed or close to be failing states, where police is underpaid, so they are inefficient and so dangerous as criminals. a bunch of Argentinian cops were arrested in Spain for coming here during their holidays to commit crimes, and where you shouldn't expect they to protect you, so you need guns to protect yourself. A Dominican girl told me how guys in her country boasted about having the smaller phone and a bigger gun. They are regarded as dangerous people here in Spain because they are used to taking care of themselves and to a certain impunity because of police inefficiency in their countries.
My old man was stationed in Venezuela back in the 80s. Protesters got riled up on news the CIA was supplying arms to rebels there. Start rioting outside United States Embassy. Old man was looking for an excuse to gun down commies. One protester jumps atop a burning truck and starts burning an American flag. Old man pulls out the M79 grenade launcher loaded with a CS gas canister. Fires it right at the flaming flag guy, hits him square in the chest, collapsing it in a bit. Flaming flag guy is now literally burning to death in the back of the burning truck with a burning American flag on top of him. No one can pull him out because the CS gas pouring out of the canister and the flames got too big. He burns to death or dies from the collapsed chest. Old man gets his ass chewed and negative paperwork out the ass, but no real news was there to cover the riot, so nothing happens. He proudly retells the story every 4th of July, sometimes on Christmas by the fireplace.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.